Gam Ganapatiye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapatiye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapatiye Namaha. Om Brahma Mirastriparantakare Banushashi Bamisuto Buddhasha Gurusha Shukra Shani Rahu Keteva Sarvigraha Shantikara Bhavantu. Om. Well, greetings and welcome to another episode of KozmicKev100. This is your weekly astro video zine where we take the planets, the astrological constellations and their houses and try to make sense of them to you in accordance with your rising sign, your sun sign, or your moon sign. Now, please subscribe to this video. Don't hesitate to like it. Don't hesitate to share it. I would love you to share your comments. You can always make improvements, and I'm thanking you for just being with me on this journey, and I'm happy to share the information I have, just a little bit about me. I've been studying astrology since 1982, and more recently, in the last almost 14 years, have been studying Jyotish, which is the Vedic astrology, which goes more with the constellations where they actually are, or the sidereal zodiac, and so which I find is extremely helpful and full of very deep information, and I love sharing this information with you. And so here we are. Happy New Year. It's January 6th, 2023. And what do we got going on? Well, we have a full moon today at 3:08 p.m. And so if you're looking, in a telescope in the constellation of Gemini, that's where you'd find that full moon. And the part of Gemini that the moon is in is a lunar mansion known as Punarvasu. Now, Punarvasu is ruled by Jupiter, and it's a nakshatra that's symbolic of the archer, boom, and the bow, and also symbolic the quiver where arrows are kept. It is 3/4 in Gemini, 1/4 in Cancer in the actual constellation, and it's visible in the Gemini part right now. Now, in Vedic astrology, sidereal astrology, the sun's still in Sagittarius. You're like, oh, that doesn't make sense. The sun's in Capricorn now. Well, yeah, it is according to seasonal astrology, the tropical astrology, but if you're going by astronomy, constellation-wise, it is actually in Sagittarius, and the moon is in Gemini. And so what we know about Punarvasu is it's ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter brings us expansion, it brings us spiritual light, it brings growth to our life. Punarvasu people generally have nice houses that they live in. They like to have a nice home, but they really like to travel a lot. They have destinations. There's a destination with the bow and the arrow. The arrow needs to reach its target. There's this beautiful young woman that I've seen on Instagram, that does Jewish wisdom. And she was relating it to astrology and to the sign of Sagittarius, is that we get so tense trying to get to our goal. It's just like the tension with the bow and the arrow. And really, as soon as we release, God takes it to the target, takes it to where it needs to go. And I thought, God, this is one of the most beautiful analogies I heard about Sagittarius. It also applies to this Gemini and Cancer ruled full moon in Punarvasu. So we are going somewhere. We're going to reach our goal. And Gemini as a sign is about karma. It wants to make connection with people. And so our goal is to make better connections, especially today. I mean, today is a Venus day. It's a Friday. It's a Venus ruled day, and we're working on things. It's also Julian Christmas, so this is pretty much the official end of the holiday season today. I mean, it seems like the holiday season ends on the night of Christmas Eve, the way, some people play it in the capitalist, marketing world, the materialistic world, living in that material world. But, other traditions, like a lot of the Eastern Orthodox people, this is their Christmas. And so And a lot of times they celebrate the wise men coming today to Jesus, who are, by the way, astrologers. Hello. In Western astrology today, we have the moon, we'd say the moon's in Cancer, sun's in Capricorn. Both cardinal signs, one earth and one water, the sun in an earth sign, the moon in a water sign. So this is really the full moon of all full moons in Western astrology because it's ruled by Cancer. Cancer's key phrase is I feel. So we're really like, focusing on our feelings. Now the moon is peaking at 3:08 p.m. So we're not going to see it in waxing fullness. Last night was waxing fullness, or early this morning was more waxing fullness. Tonight it's going to be pretty close to full, but it is going to be waning. So the energy over the next 2 weeks is like, okay, we're putting things in order, until we get to that next new moon. And we've got Mercury retrograde now, and we've got Jupiter in Aries now, and Venus has just moved into Aquarius, all in the Western signs and constellations. So this is it. This is your forecast, beginning with you, Aries, for January 6th through Thursday the 12th. And next week we'll do a Friday the 13th forecast. And that's okay too, because 13 was a number of love in Hebrew, as far as a number goes. So let's keep that in mind as well. So with that said, starting with you, Aries, it's all about you. Greetings, Aries. This is your time to throw better parties. Yeah. And I think relatively, people throw Super Bowl parties and there's all kinds of parties, but there's really not a heck of a lot that happens between New Year and Valentine's Day, or New Year and St. Patrick's Day, or even New Year's to Easter. So it's sort of like we're in this sort of more wintry, cocoony kind of feeling, but you're kind of out in the open. And the fact that the sun is growing, and that we're still dealing with a Mars retrograde. Let's see, that's going to change though. We're going to get out of that Mars retrograde. Mars is going to station direct, and that is happening on Thursday the 12th at 12:56 p.m. That's this week, folks. That means that you're going to feel like, whoa, I'm about to get things done. And I also think a lot of maybe pent-up rage and hostility, pent-up lust, pent-up fearfulness is going to be overcome, and even things that maybe were like pent-up happiness that needed to express itself, because Mars is also Shakti, and happiness is going to come out. It'll be interesting, so it's all about, what are you feeding yourself? Have you been purging yourself from things that aren't that good for you, so that you can enter into this new space peacefully and lovingly? And you've got a lot of responsibility, because it's kind of like you're in the public eye in Capricorn time, sun's in your 10th house, people see you. And Pluto's there, Mercury's there. Sometimes our communication at work isn't that great right now because of this Mercury retrograde. Next week we'll have Mercury going direct forecast, and everybody will be like, yay! And but otherwise, we're dealing with some unusual stuff here, and this is also the last week that in the sidereal zodiac you'll have that influence of Saturn kind of like going through your 11th house, and for some of you, and so things are going to change, folks. Things are about to change, and we will go into Taurus right now. Greetings, Taurus. Welcome to your horoscope. And Taurus is like, don't tell me things are going to change. I've had enough change. Well, you never have enough spare change, right? We always can bring more positivity in our lives. Capricorn time is really a good time for Taurus. It's 9th house. That's the guru. That's your father. That's foreign travel. that could be higher information, that could be traveling for charitable causes. It also could be like going to a monastery or an ashram. All those things work out. Moon in Cancer. Well, Moon's exalted in Taurus. Cancer rules your third house, that's your sibling. So maybe you've got a sister that needs your help today. That's likely if you're watching this Friday. There's other things going on with this. It's a time. I mean, I like the travel part though. Third house is like travel, moving around. Punarvasu is about travel too. So I mean, I could see this working out for you. You're also getting good ideas. You're working with your hands, and there's some sense of release. The ruling deity of that Punarvasu moon is Aditi, and Aditi is a god of light. That she's a goddess of infinity. Actually, she brings infinite possibilities. So hopefully, we'll see some of those possibilities this week. And generally speaking, Taurus, this is a lucky time. I know Venus is in your midheaven, so people are seeing your creativity and the beauty that you have to offer. That's positive. Mercury retrograde in the ninth house is like trying to understand somebody who doesn't speak English as a first language. Or for my English viewers or UK viewers, I don't speak English. I speak American. Okay, I get that. Oh boy. Isn't it? It's so much fun doing this. I love doing this. Greetings, Gemini. Welcome to your horoscope. Well, I mean, Mars is still there in the first house, but here's the good news. On Thursday, Mars goes direct. So I think this tension, things that were pent up, it's kind of like healing from an injury and being able to move a little bit more freely. It's about being to explore things with courage, with your heart open, working with the earth, seeing things like, oh, there's so many opportunities for ecological restoration this year that I want to be involved in that. Improving your lung capacity, writing things that you wanted to write, and going places that you wanted to go to. And you're looking dynamic, you're looking confident right now. These things are all positive. Venus in transiting your ninth house. It could be like a long distance love affair sometimes when that happens. It's not quite as gloomy as the eighth house. So the eighth house can be gloomy. It also can be really sexy though and delicious. So I don't know. I don't want to judge it. Mercury is in your eighth house. It could lead, even though it's still retrograde this week, that could lead to a lot of occult studies and getting deeper into the mysteries. All right. Greetings on Cancer. Greetings to you, my friend. Well, full moon in Cancer on today, so that right there, it kind of, you're like, the flavor of the day. You probably were the flavor of the day yesterday too. And if you're watching this before 3:08 p.m. Pacific time, you could still plant some leafy vegetables out if you're, on the West Coast in a coastal area that doesn't freeze a lot. Or in perhaps low-lying areas of South Texas, Southern Arizona, Florida. These are good days for growing, and then after that, if it's afternoon, it'll be better for root crops. So there's this full moon vibe. Good day for fishing, I guess. Like people like to fish on water sign moons in Western astrology. I've heard that. So my friends in Wisconsin will be ice fishing there. Oh, golly, you betcha. or Minnesota. And all these things are good. So I mean, relationships, that's a lot about what Capricorn time is for Cancer. So making better relationships, getting better contracts, better jobs, and because of Mercury retrograde, dealing with miscommunication. Sometimes people are just not open to responding. I mean, I feel like people pride themselves today on their ability to take offense. It's the weirdest thing. This was not what I grew up with, but for some reason, being offended has become the virtue of the 2000s. You're so virtuous because you're so offended. Can't help myself, folks. Greetings, Leo. I hope you're not being virtuous for being offended. I don't think so. I think really things are looking up for Leo. Jupiter in the ninth house. I mean, you can't have a better position for Jupiter, really. You're going to learn more. You're going to have more spiritual wisdom. This is your opportunity to go to Vipassana or go to the monastery or go to an ashram. Your ability to go to a really nice retreat that's healing and good for yourself. Higher wisdom, restoring your relationship with your father, finding a way to make it better. That's all a possibility this year. Capricorn time. Well, I mean, Capricorn, it's a little bit rougher on Leos in a lot of ways. And it rules the sixth house. So, whereas, no, I should have said Jupiter, Jupiter's in your ninth. But, Capricorn in the sixth, it's like working on your health, working on organization, working on cleaning up your house and stuff, all that after holiday debris, and giving away the things you don't need because you got new things, or giving away new things because you didn't need them in the first place. Yeah, it's going to be a massive giveaway. And Venus moving into Aquarius is good. It's good for relationships, good for peacemaking. There's a lot of different things. And, you might just have to keep on tweaking health issues to, just stay consistent, not eating the gluten you swore you'd give off, or the sugar, or the dairy, or the seed oils. Oh, goodness gracious. We all don't need those, but I don't know. The hexene makers, they've got a hex on those things. So just work hard and things will get better. All right. Hello, Virgo. Welcome to your horoscope. So, loving me some Virgo today. I mean, Capricorn time is a good time for Virgo. I probably said that last week. I've said that a lot of times. So being in your heart, and really, especially with Mercury retrograde, I mean, being in your heart is generally, it feels better than being in your head. Being all caught up here like, woohoo, what is all this all about, Heart-centered, loving, that it was an act of love that put you into this universe and world in the first place. I know there's artificial insemination cases, but even then, even if it was just self-love, we all got to start somewhere. I don't think, not everyone's as privileged to have their first experience with somebody else, I suppose. But anyhow, Virgo, you're bringing good education, you're bringing good information to people, and you're transforming the way you do things, and you're being more focused on your children and matters of the heart, and that's something that counts. You actually appear relatively dynamic at work. You've had more energy just with Mars being in Gemini, and Mars going direct at work. I think, there's a lot of chances for you to move forward and to have things improve in your life. All right. Look at that. Greetings, Libra, and welcome to your horoscope. So Venus in Aquarius, that's fifth house, that's being more heart-centered. Who could ask for anything more? More expressive, more creative, more heart-centered. Capricorn time, that's your fourth house, so that's your living situation, that's your home, that's your ancestry, that's your parents, that's your older people that might be living with you in your life. It's also fixed assets, things that you value, what brings you happiness. These are things to be looking at. And with Mercury retrograde, and since a lot of you are sidereal Virgos anyhow, It's important to look at that. Some of the resources, some of the things going on maybe with parents and stuff aren't that clear. For people like myself, like Generation Jones people born in the late 50s through the early 60s, a lot of us have aging parents, if our parents are still alive, and, they may not be mentally as sharp or together as they used to be, and can use memory care and things like that. So there's all kinds of issues to look at in that respect. I mean, overall, though, like I said last week, Jupiter in the 7th house is going to do you good. It's going to bring good people in your life, and it's going to help you even career-wise in negotiating better contracts for yourself. And I think like Venus working with Saturn right now in your 5th house, some of the things that blocked your heart and just seemed like they were a little bit difficult, they're going to ease up. You're in this period where things are kind of about to ease into something better, and just encouraging you to work on that. Mars and Gemini going direct could indicate more travel for you. That's going to be fun, and just always use a little bit of caution out there while you're traveling for beauty, I suppose. Greetings, Scorpio. Welcome to your horoscope. Yeah, I mean, you got North Node and Uranus in the 7th house. I mean, that's just like unusual relationships. It's like you really have to have a lot of flexibility in your relationships in order to make it work. Both Uranus and the North Node have these kind of Aquarian, unusual qualities to them, and so surprises, and not everything's always what it appears on the surface. So, it's always important to go deep, ask questions. I mean, you're working on matters of the heart internally with Venus in your 4th house. That's pretty obvious. And art projects, creative projects with Mercury in your 3rd house, even if Mercury is retrograde, you're communicating pretty well with Mercury transiting your 3rd house. So you got your thinking cap on there, Scorpio. And, Mars, of course, in the 8th house and going direct, a lot of your occult studies and work in that area is going to be much more on point. It's just important to be patient about other people and not to, rip into somebody because, unless it's mutual, it's a mutual ripping. Because, you just want to keep everything on that peaceful up and up. And that goes for, your prayer life, your ritual life, that magical side of your life, that you bring positivity in it as you're moving forward. And forward with your siblings, too, just being a blessing to them. Well, hello, Sagittarius, and welcome to your horoscope. I mean, no planets in Sagittarius right now. Mercury in your 2nd house, it's a little bit like being tongue-tied. Sun's in your 2nd house. What's the sun doing over here? Jesus. How long's it been hanging out there? I'm so sorry. It's last week. I apologize for that. Yeah, I had somehow moved things around a little bit. Yeah, like this. Like, get over it. I want to thank you, Sagittarius, for being so, your key phrases I see and I visualize, and yeah, you made it so that I notice those things. It's okay. The verbal content was fairly accurate, at least. Moon and Jupiter, well, I mean, we started with full moon here. Right. Yeah, Moon and Jupiter squaring each other. I mean, this moon and full moon in Cancer is about the mysteries, and it's about lust, and it's about things. Sometimes it's like unexpected karma comes up, and it could go positive or negative. I think the more you're able to be willing to support other people's successes and be happy for other people's victories, that's just going to lead to more abundance and wealth in your life, and you're doing good. I mean, generally you're happy, Jupiter being in your fifth house this year. It's good for children. It's good for education. It's good for travel. And it's good for just having an open heart and a happy heart. And that's good right there. Okay. Greetings, Capricorn, and welcome to your horoscope. So here we are, Pluto, Sun, and Mercury together. So it's, a lot of times Mercury is probably, been conjoining the Sun, or it's been combust with the Sun. And so while it's retrograde, combust with the Sun, it's like, can I get my thoughts together? I think the biggest thought is, what's soul purpose right now? Are you in contact with your soul? Are you doing what your soul wants you to do, which is your personal truth? Are you following that personal truth? Are you making executive decisions that are consistent with what your identity is, which is using things to the highest, most practical way? That water goat, or I like the mountain goat like they have in Glacier National Park. You're able to scale things that look like almost impossible, defying gravity, just patiently and calculating where that next step is going to be. That's what makes you so magnificent. What a wonderful image. Capricorn in Vedic astrology, it's the alligator or the crocodile. And yeah, in a lot of ways they're really smart and they're tough, and they can be in the water as well as on the land. So that's another way of looking at it, I suppose. I think, though, that, be careful about what you purchase, that you're not eating too many sweets, and that you don't just indulge in luxuries. But otherwise, I think finances are going to get better and better as we go through the year, and that your own personal happiness, your family life is going to improve, and that overall there's inspiration coming down the pike. Okay, greetings, Aquarius. Welcome to your horoscope. So, I didn't say this too much last week. Okay, so the Sun's going through your 12th house. 12th house, that month before our birthday is kind of like, we sort of lose things sometimes, because the 12th house is a house of loss, it's said. And one of the things you can do, instead of losing things, you can just get lost. Bearer of water, Aquarius, but an air sign nonetheless. So, how to get lost means going to the ashram, going to a wilderness area, having a little winter retreat, finding some cabin out in the snow, up in the High Sierra or the Southern Cascades, if you're in this area. You're in another area, maybe you're already stuck in the snow somewhere, or maybe you're in some kind of tropical place watching this, and it's out of the question. I'm enjoying the sunshine. I'm enjoying my life where I'm at. I think, you're using things practical. Venus is in your first house, so you're looking better than usual. And, I think relationship things, as we get into Sunday, Monday, they're going to open up for you. And this whole making new friends, that's working for you. And it may seem kind of weird and wonky and unpredictable in your own house and with your own family, but you somehow just need to accept that, that this is just temporary. All this stuff is just temporary. And I think you're motivated to move forward in a good way. And that your movement should be like dancing. You should celebrate your body and just celebrate your ability to live, love, and lust. Okay, here we are. In the land of Pisces, or the water, the Bay of Pisces, the harbor of Pisces. So there we are with Neptune in the first house again. Is it an oasis, or is that a mirage? That's always the question to ask with Neptune. It's also like an opportunity to get into religious studies, discover religions, study them. Why do people do this? And I'm always looking for commonalities. I've got a friend, Priestess Amber and Jesse Kearns, who's a pastor at a church in Chico, and they do host this radio show on KZFR called Faith and Common Ground. It's like every other week, and it's great. It's just like shows that we're not all that different, you know. We want the same things. Even if you're agnostic or convinced atheist, we want peace between our neighbors, and we want to have good relationships with other people, and we want to create good works and that we leave a good legacy for those who come after us. I think that's a common thing. We want to be good to the planet, all these things, and I think that's what you want, Pisces. You're very sensitive, you're very caring about everybody, and the great thing about Pisces is that they really see the big picture. Now, Venus is in the 12th house, and I mean 12th house can sometimes be pleasures of the bed, but it could be loss, it could be like a breakup, it could be a gal at work that's not being on the level with you, and you know she wants your position. You know, there's people like that out there. It's weird, folks. I never quite understood that type of thing, but it's out there. I mean, Capricorn time for Pisces is your social life, so you should be having a richer social life this time. I was saying last week, plan the parties, be an inspiration to your neighbors. You know, maybe move furniture around in your house, just to design things differently to give you a fresh take on that. You're going to love this full moon. I mean, this full moon is going to work really well for, especially Pisces, probably for Scorpio, probably for Cancer as well. So I see a lot of positive stuff for you. And like I said last week, the wealth is coming. And Mars going direct, you know, it's still in Gemini in the 4th house. I mean, it could mean that you're moving finally when you weren't able to move before. And with that, I mean, I think, you know, enjoy your people, enjoy your life, appreciate the wealth that you have, share it with others. And if you like this video, please subscribe to it. Please, I'd love to be with you every week. I'd like you to share it, send it to a friend, said, oh, this was really funny how he got into this sign and said this, and all those kind of comments. I appreciate it. Like, hit the bell notification, and keep your comments coming. I look forward to being with you again next week when we do this on KozmicKev100. So thank you so much, and I want to wish a happy birthday to my baby mama, who's Lisa Schmidt, turning 53 on the 7th, and to Dan Bowles, who I believe is turning 72 on the 7th, and let's see if I can think of anybody else having a birthday this week. Richard Nixon, who's dead, I don't know. Jimmy Page. Anyhow, I appreciate you all so much, and I look forward to being with you again next week. Om Shanti, 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 Om Tat Sat.